Hello friends, in my last video of Ollama and Llama 3 chatbot, we saw that how we can come up with a chatbot running at the local environment. The program was working really fine, but then I noticed that each chat which you are doing or each prompt which you are providing is a complete new prompt, because this is completely a stateless application. What do I mean by stateless? Well, can I do something whereby it can remember what conversation we had in past? In fact, if you have noticed that every chatbot can recall all your previous conversation, and they do follow a pattern where the new conversation plus the previous conversation, they get culminated. So for that reason, what I thought is, can we modify the previous program by introducing a memory associated to this chatbot. So let me first show you how the new modern new version of the app is running, and then you can eventually understand. Well, here it starts. Now it is asking me to enter a question. So again, I'm continuing the same question. What is Python? And I hit the enter. So like the previous occasion, this time also it will come up with the answer in the stream format. As you can see, the data is getting displayed in form of stream, because we saw that as Llama 3 provides the input to Ollama, Ollama sends it as an output in a form of post, right? Request post, because request is still there. Now see over here, after the output came, over here I have added a conversational memory, in which I initially generated this prompt that you should restrict your answer to 50 words, and you should behave like a helpful assistant. So this is a kind of prompt that I passed initially, that what been shown over here, and then as an user I asked this question, that what is Python, like this one. Even that answer, that question also got added in my list, or you can see in my dictionary. Well, overall this is a list, and individually they are dictionary. And the corresponding answer that came from the assistant is the following, that also been shown right over here. So that was the memory part of my first question. What will happen if I go for the next question? Suppose, what is MySQLi? MySQLi. So it again come up with a new answer, and again it's a stream format, because Ollama is passing data to your Llama, and Llama is displaying it to Python in the form of stream, and that's the reason why you are getting this flavor. Now just see over here what new thing that I got it. As I said, that each conversation what I would be performing, I want to record them. So if you see over here, this was the first question that I asked. Can you see over here? Yes, this was the first question. Well, this was the initial prompt that I asked. Just exclude that. But thereafter I asked this question, and this was its answer that the assistant provided. Right? Next came this particular question, which I just now asked, what is MySQLi, and its corresponding answer also came. So you can see that each question associated answer is also getting stored in my memory, and that's how the modern day chatbot work. Well, let's go for one more question, and then I will come to the solution. So I would like to know that what is the sum of 2 plus 3. 2 plus 3. I hit the enter, and let's see what comes up with the answer. The sum of 2 and 3 is 5. Wonderful. Even that question also got added. As you can see, what is the sum of 2 plus 3, and the answer provided by the assistant is the following. So the whole list is getting added over here, and this is all happening dynamically, isn't it? As you add more questions, the list will expand, and it will expand, and it will show all the past questions corresponding to answer will be shown right over here. This is a very important part, and I'm doing all this thing without using LangChain. Remember, this entire couple of more videos I will be coming where I will not use LangChain, so that you can understand that once LangChain comes in picture, what kind of benefit do you get. Because this would be definitely interview question, so that they will ask you that why do we need LangChain, and what if I don't have LangChain, what can I do in that context. So corresponding to that question, the following videos I am making. Okay, so let's see what the solution that I have provided for this particular program. As usual, my Ollama is working on localhost with the following port number, and this is the API endpoint, and I'm using the following model. And you saw this is the initial message that got printed right over here, and this is something what you should take note. And previously also I had this, but now what I've done is that I created a list, and inside the list I've created a dictionary, so you can understand how multiple data type gets together is something very important. So over here I have the key called role, as you saw in each of the output that this is a role and what content it should provide, and this is the prompt that I'm giving. And this prompt, if you take a note over here, this prompt is actually in the form of a tuple. Can you see? Well, let me show you over here. So this is my first statement and this is its second statement. So as a whole, you can see you are a helpful assistant. So this entire thing I have put within a tuple, right? So what not I'm using over here, I have a dictionary. Over here I have a dictionary, but the value is in the form of tuple, and the entire thing is in the form of a dictionary, and then it's put inside a list. Now the reason why I did this tuple, because I am not going to modify this. This is going to be fixed. As you can see over here, this is going to be fixed, so there is no question of modifying it, and we know that a tuple is immutable, so it's preferable to use tuple. That's what I thought. Okay, now let's come to my infinite loop, and here I'm taking input from the user and I'm just checking whether it's exit or not. Well, if I go for exit, the program will terminate. Okay, great. So I have got this message list. Now I want to append, because user has already given one input, like in the first occasion when I said that what is Python. So that was the input which got through inside the user input. So now I want to append my list, because my list already had the following. Well, it's a list, the following dictionary is already there. So on top of that dictionary I want to append my first question. So that is the reason why I appended in this one. So the role will be user, as you can see over here. In the first case, what did I ask? The role is user, and I ask what is Python. So that what the dictionary is, and it's getting appended inside my existing message list. Remember, this list already had got one dictionary, so this will be the continuation. So another dictionary got framed, and that's the reason why when you saw the output for the first time, you were seeing one dictionary right over here. So you can say that this is the first dictionary. You can see at the 0th index of the list, and at the second index you have got the next dictionary, and that's the question, what is Python? That's the next dictionary. Now of course I have to pass this to Ollama Bile. I have to pass, Python has to pass it to Ollama, and then it will forward to Llama 3, and that's the reason why I'm going for a payload. Now this payload is also a dictionary where I'm mentioning the model which I'm going to use, and I'm going to pass the entire message. Remember, this message contains the initial dictionary plus the next question what I have asked, that would be there, and it should provide the data in the form of stream. As you saw, part by part data is going to display, not as a chunk. Alright, so now I'm going to pass this payload with the requests.post to the following Ollama URL, that is the Llama 3, where right now over here this is the Llama 3 is going to, and I am going to convert the dictionary to JSON, and as I said, it will be stream format. So this is the entire response that I'm getting stored inside the response, and once it has been forwarded by Ollama to Llama 3, we have to wait. And for that reason, what did I do is that I came up with a string variable. Now why I will be using this string variable, that is also an important question, but you will see very soon. So after a while, well, I come inside this particular loop, and this loop is waiting till it gets the first answer from Ollama, I mean from Llama 3 via Ollama. So until then it will wait as the HTTP funnel is active. Once the response comes from by Llama, it will be converted into Python dictionary. So initially it will be in JSON format, and that will be converted to Python dictionary, and after converting it will be stored inside the chunk. So now I'm checking the inside chunk. We have a message, right? The message is there, and then we are picking up the message followed by the content. We are picking up, we're passing it over here. Now this is the answer to the question which I asked. Suppose this was my question and this is the answer that came, right? So I need to collect this answer so that I can append this answer even in my list. as an answer to the first question. So for that reason, what I'm doing is that since it is coming in the segment wise in the iterated format, so I'm just storing it inside a string variable, and once the entire answer has been forwarded, the loop will stop iterating because it will the HTTP funnel has ended. Now what I'm going to do, I have got this particular string variable, I'm creating another new object, new dictionary, and the role is assistant, where I'm just passing the answer that came from Llama 3 via Ollama, and it got stored inside the content. So how many dictionary came up in the very first question? Well, at first I have got this one, that is the first one. Then came my question and its corresponding answer that we received got stored. So as you can see over here, we have got the initial prompt that I stated how exactly chatbot should react. Then I asked the question, that is the second dictionary, and the corresponding answer that came the third dictionary. So the entire thing got wrapped up, right? And then it is printing me one by one from the message. So the first what it is inside this is a list, right? Inside this list we have got 3 dictionaries. In the first iteration it picked up the first dictionary stored over here, and we saw this particular statement. Great. In the second iteration it picked up the following dictionary and got printed. Great. In the third it got printed the third one. Alright, and then what happened? Well, it went back to my infinite loop waiting for my next question. As you can see over here, then I've asked the next question, what is MySQL? Again the same thing, the question came over here and I need to append that question. So what it is doing, it's going to append this question. Remember, inside the message the previous questions are all there, plus the new question which I have asked. Like as you can see over here, all this thing was the previous part. The new question what I have asked, that got appended, and then the payload been forwarded via Ollama to Llama 3, and it was waiting for the answer. And once the answer started coming, that answer will be stored again in the string variable, and all the the entire answer, when it got printed, the control came out of this particular loop, and that answer is the answer, this particular answer, and I need to append it inside my list, and for that reason this string variable will be used, and that's what got appended. So in the second question, basically there were 2 dictionaries associated. So this is the first dictionary and this is the second dictionary. That's how the message got appended, and when it displayed the initial 3 keys, 3 key value, and the same time the last 2 keys, and all total 5 was displayed. In this way the entire iteration will go on unless and until I say exit. So the moment I say exit, EXIT, the program terminates right after that. So I believe this particular program helped you to understand the main concept of conversation memory, which is very much important for any chatbot. Remember one thing, we are doing everything from the scratch. Had I used LangChain, thing would have been very simple, but the good practice would be to start doing everything from raw, so that you understand the entire architecture of the underlying chatbot. Now before I wrap up, one thing that I noticed while doing this particular program is that this answer is coming every time, and it's cluttering the entire output screen, isn't it? Instead of doing that, how about let me keep this answer with myself. Only when I say show me the previous chat, then only it should populate the data, because every time you don't want to see the past memory, right? Past data, what conversation you had got, that you don't want to see maybe all the time. So for that reason I am working in the next part of the program which I've just started, that is the conversation memory part 2, where you will see that you interact with a question, you get the answer, but this conversation doesn't display right what you are seeing right now. Rather it will display only when you say something like history. Yes, because these are all historical data which you have interacted before. So when I say history, then only whatever conversation you had got, that will put forward. Okay, that will make the application look more beautiful, right? So in short, I can tell you that whatever I'm doing, if you follow these things, no problem will be in context to chatbot architecture. And once you get into Llama, or Llama plus Ollama plus LangChain and LangGraph, thing will be far more easier. Okay, but at first you should do things from the scratch. As you saw over here, that how exactly the list containing a dictionary, the dictionary containing tuples, all these things are coming up, isn't it? The entire architecture of a chatbot is getting crystal clear to you all, right? So stay tuned for the next video where something more exciting is going to happen. Until then, have a nice time. Bye bye. Take care.